Hey guys, welcome back to Based MMA. Today I'm going to be discussing why I believe that Volk will dominate Yair Rodriguez at UFC 290. UFC 290 is right around the corner, guys. This main event takes place next week, next Saturday. I'm very looking forward to Volk versus Yair Rodriguez. I think this is a very exciting matchup. We know Yair Rodriguez is a very explosive fighter. We know that Alexander Volkanovski has looked incredibly dominant in the featherweight division. And I really do believe that Volk is going to dominate Yair Rodriguez. I think that Alexander Volkanovski is coming off the Islam fight where he put a great performance. Some people thought he arguably won. Regardless of whether you thought he won against Islam Makhachev or not, you can't deny that the guy did better than expected. Most people out there were saying that Islam Makhachev was Volk's nightmare matchup, and that was not the case at all. It was very competitive. Some of the rounds you could give to Volk, some of the rounds you could give to Islam. Personally, I felt like Volk had done enough to win the fight. I still think it was a very competitive fight. I think you could make an argument for 48-47, 48-47 Islam. But regardless, we saw that Volk is still improving. His grappling was very good. Obviously, he did have a couple of exchanges with Islam where he got caught, and I am going to discuss that a little bit when I talk about Alexander Volkanovski's weaknesses and the path for Yair Rodriguez if he does end up winning this fight, guys. But I'm very confident in my prediction that I do think Volkanovski will dominate Yair Rodriguez, at least like a 49-46 decision, maybe even 50-45. I just think the guy's fight IQ is going to be too much. One of Volkanovski's strength is his great game plans. He always game plans for his opponents. We saw the difference between that second Max Holloway fight and the third. Like the third, he just completely destroyed Max Holloway, completely dominated, completely shut down Max Holloway, who many people consider one of the best in the division. I mean, Max Holloway beats everybody else except Volk. He beat Arnold Allen. He beat Calvin Kattar. He beat Yair Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? But when when Volk fights Max, he just shows him a different level. So clearly there's levels in the featherweight division, and I do not believe that Yair Rodriguez is at the top level of the featherweight division. I do think he's a very dangerous fighter, but I don't think he's top featherweight. I don't think he's better than Yair. I think him and Max are close. And I think Yair has improved a bit, but I will still pick Max Holloway to beat Yair Rodriguez if they fought today. So let's talk about some of Alexander Volkanovski's strengths, in my opinion. Obviously, his great game plan, his fight IQ, his movement, his hand speed. He's very fast. He moves in and out, touches you, moves around, shuts down your movement. He has good kicks. Very confident fighter. I think his confidence is one of his biggest strengths. I think he has great cardio. I mean, if you go back and rewatch that Islam fight, you could tell that Volk could have done another round, another 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like he just has amazing cardio. Now, what are some weaknesses of Alexander Volkanovski going into this fight? I mean, there's not a lot of weaknesses in his fight game, but he is getting older. He is 34 years old. Eventually every fighter starts to fall off. I do believe that his prime was against the Korean Zombie Max 3 and Islam. I feel like that was his prime. I do think he's going to start to fall off a little bit. So one of his weaknesses, I put that Volkanovski, like, you just cannot be at your prime forever. He's eventually going to start to, diminish in level, but maybe he's still so many levels above these guys that even if Volkanovski does start to not do as well, it's still enough to keep the title and still be champion and still dominate these guys. So another one of his weaknesses, I do notice that sometimes he does get caught, and just because sometimes, like, he got caught against Islam, he got dropped to a knee. I have seen one of his fights. I do not remember the fight exactly, but he did get dropped by a head kick. And if you're getting dropped by head kicks, if you're fighting someone like Yair Rodriguez, that could be very, very dangerous. Another one of his Volk's weaknesses is that he lacks KO power, at least at featherweight. It looked like he did have a little bit more. He had more sting in his shots at 155, but at featherweight, he's been having a hard time finishing these guys. But to his credit, even though I did put, because I have to put some weaknesses for Volkanovski, and I put he lacks KO power, I do believe that the reason for that as well is because he's fighting guys at feather that are very tough, that haven't been really finished like that, like Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, who's never been dropped, never been finished. Max Holloway wasn't even dropped, knocked down, or knocked out by Dustin Poirier at 155 by Dustin Poirier. So Volk not being able to finish Max Holloway, to me, it's not like a huge weakness, but it is something that, okay, he struggles to finish guys. Not struggles to finish guys, but he's fighting guys very tough at featherweight, and I think Yair Rodriguez is one of those tough guys as well that doesn't really go down, that relies a lot on his durability. So now let's talk a little bit about Yair Rodriguez's strengths. This is going to be no surprise to no one. Obviously, one of his strengths is his explosive movement, his kicks, his body kicks, his head kicks, very explosive. Kicks really fast. His kicks are super powerful. Like when you heard those kicks land against Josh Emmett, like you could tell they were hurting a lot. And if he's able to do that to Volkanovski, I think he's gonna put Volkanovski in a lot of danger. I think the guy's dangerous at all times. Like I even think like if he's losing against Volkanovski, like he's still able to maybe pull a finish in the 5th round. So this is a fighter that's gonna be very dangerous. He's very tough, and he's improved his ground game. Like we saw that against Josh Emmett, that he was able to submit him. I do think that one of his weaknesses is still that he has bad takedown defense, and he falls a lot for some reason. Like he's always falls a lot. So I'm gonna attribute that to the guy not being very strong at featherweight, and he's about to face Volkanovski, who's one of the strongest featherweights. So I do think that Volkanovski's physicality is gonna play a role in this fight, and I think Volkanovski is gonna be very strong. He's gonna be able to take him down, control him a little bit, land ground and pound strikes, maybe let him back up. I think Volkanovski is going to start to piece him down and kind of break him down as the fight goes on. Another thing of Yair Rodriguez, a lot of people that hype him up, I feel like Yair Rodriguez's best win is his loss against Max Holloway, because he had a very competitive fight against Max Holloway. Max Holloway had to clinch him against the cage to kind of get that victory, kind of take him down, kind of control him to really win that fight, because Yair Rodriguez was starting to get a little bit of, not the better of Max Holloway on the feet, but it was definitely super competitive. I think it was more competitive than Max Holloway expected. So if Max Holloway can hold you against the cage like that, I think Volkanovski can do that, but even better, to be honest. So I do think that Yair Rodriguez is a little bit, I don't want to say weak, but he's a little bit weak compared to the rest of the featherweights, and I think someone like Volkanovski is going to take advantage of that. I think Volkanovski's fight IQ is going to be a little bit too much for Yair Rodriguez. I think Volkanovski is going to find a way to stop his movement, but I do think Yair Rodriguez is going to be very dangerous. I think he's going to be throwing a lot of body kicks, head kicks, and he still has good hands. Yair Rodriguez still has good hands, but I think Volkanovski is a little bit better with his hands, a little bit better. So I do think that Volkanovski, guys, is going to end up winning this fight by a 49-46 decision. I think he's going to dominate Yair Rodriguez. I don't think it's going to be that competitive, but obviously this is MMA, so anything crazy could happen. Like I will not be surprised if Volkanovski gets knocked out, because Yair Rodriguez is a very dangerous opponent, but I do believe that Volkanovski is still at the top level. I do think he's going to end up winning this fight, guys, and I hope that he ends up fighting Ilia Topuria. I know there's been talks about him moving back up to lightweight, but I think it's I kind of don't like that. The reason why I don't like that, and I'm going to sidetrack a little bit and talk a little bit about the lightweight division, but Islam Makhachev is most likely going to fight Charles Oliveira in October. If the fight ends up happening and Islam Makhachev ends up winning again, I just don't see Islam Makhachev being motivated to fight Volk again. Like I feel like he's gonna want to fight new contenders, and I feel like there's actually a new contender at featherweight that is very exciting, has a lot of hype, in Ilia Topuria, that had an incredible showing. I think that guy has a potential to be a huge superstar, and I think he's also a very dangerous opponent. Like, do I think Topuria can beat Volkanovski right now? Probably not, but I definitely think that guy's gonna be future champion, and he's definitely future champion material. So I think that's the fight to make if Volkanovski ends up winning against Yair Rodriguez. If Volkanovski ends up losing, I think most likely what would happen next is Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski 2, guys. But anyway, this is my prediction for the main event for UFC 290. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with my prediction? Do you think Yair Rodriguez is just too dangerous and he's going to get it done? Do you think Volkanovski is going to get a finish? I mean, I would not be surprised if maybe Volkanovski is able to get a finish, maybe some ground and pound But I kind of see him winning by ground and pound. I don't really see him like dropping or KOing Yair Rodriguez like that. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to bet on Volkanovski maybe by like a late TKO ground and pound finish. But I think the most safe prediction, I think what I really see happening is Volkanovski by decision, guys. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.